What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna work on the CRX. I'm gonna get a panel replacement for the sunroof. I ordered a Lexan piece from Y&S Shields. I already removed my old OEM unit. This thing has never worked from day one, and figured it was just time to get rid of it as I've gutted the rest of the car. I'm trying to figure out something in terms of mounting it, as I don't really want to rivet it to the roof. So I lined it up. I already drew a round template. What I want to do is I want to sink it so that way it's level with the roof line, and then I'm thinking of some little like L brackets that I could rivet up here and then rivet to the little sunroof panel itself. But I'm gonna tackle this today and see if we can't get this mounted and wrapped up. If you're curious, that old sunroof assembly and all of the drain tubes weighed 27.6 pounds. So I don't know if you can see it here. There's a little line that I made from underneath. I'm gonna cut it a little bit larger. Of course, I'd rather have enough material than not enough, just to make sure, and then I can always grind down certain areas. And this is what I have in mind. I have this little aluminum L bracket. Cut these into small pieces. And right here are these little tabs. Let me see here. There's little tabs here. I figure 1, 2, maybe like 4 or 5 of those. On the side, there's plenty here on this big piece. Now on the front looks like it's a little bit of space in between here, maybe like a 1/4 inch. What I can do is maybe add some washers, and I'll probably use, I don't think I'm gonna use rivets. I think I'll probably use nuts and bolts. That way I can remove and pull them back in or out if I need to and adjust them for height. So I think I'm gonna cut it, measure it. I think I want to work on the little L brackets first, that way I can get a height, and then I can just get that piece in here and just kind of lay it down each time and find out where it's relatively tight. And then I'm thinking of maybe some sort of just like silicone sealant and just put it all the way around. And then it'll be waterproof also, but it'll still be flush with the roof. Let's see if we can attempt to make this look good. Alright guys, so I was waiting for this seal to come in. You saw me previous clips. I was working on getting all of the brackets lined up, and I had them on the other day. A few days later the seal came in, and it's now a week later. I'm out here. I'm going to try to finish this off today. And in that time frame, when this thing came in, I really like how the seal looks. You'll see right here on this side, this is the piece that holds the panel in place. And then this piece is going to sit on the edge of the car, obviously. So right here at the front, I have it pushed down. Now it no longer fits completely because it added, you can see that thickness right here, how much it added. I'm going to need to go and trim like another 1 to 2 millimeters off of the sunroof panel, the plug again, so I can fit it, because you know, it's kind of fitting there, but in the front, yeah, I may need to
trim just a little bit more so it fits it completely. But anyway, I think I'm gonna remove all those little brackets. This will now sit flush with the sunroof, and I am going to use polyurethane construction adhesive to put it in. I think what I'm gonna do is open this up and apply a little seam all the way throughout and then squeeze it back onto the panel. That way it's kind of glued together. And then I'm going to do the same for the panel itself, going all the way throughout and just applying the construction adhesive. Let me see if I can get that worked on and finished up.
Okay, so I trimmed the sunroof a little bit smaller, the sunroof plug at least in the back. Still need to do a little bit more on the sides, but this is how it's gonna fit once I have it on. So let's push a little too far that way, pull it back. Once we have it in position, it's gonna look like that. I think that'll look really cool. It'll look really clean. It's obviously sticking up in the corners for now, but that's because it's flat and the roof is actually rounded. What I'm gonna do once I have it in position I like, I'm gonna put some weights on these corners, and then underneath I am going to just fill it with urethane in there, put it in between both, and just kind of seal it. And it says it takes 24 hours for it to cure. Here's a look at where that seal runs across here. What I think I'm also going to do is lift up this lip, and I'm gonna run a fine bead inside there too, so it's bonding the plug to the rubber molding as well. That way everything just holds in place really well. I'm kind of probably going to overdo it a little bit with the adhesive here, and then just like spread it out. I'll probably go put a decently thick layer and try to get it in between the sunroof and that little lip also, so it's kind of holding on to everything. There is a little bit of 3M like tape there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna peel that off and just probably put urethane over it and just kind of bond it to the roof. I want everything to be as solid as possible. I don't plan on removing it anytime soon, so I'd like to just leave it there. And the thing about this is, in the future, if you need to, this seal was only $13. And the adhesive, obviously, you could go in there with a knife and essentially cut it out and peel off the rest, and your plug would still be okay. And then you could probably peel off the rest here. Then you could reuse it if you are doing some sort of body work or getting your car painted. You want to paint everything up here also. Alright, so I got the panel on. What I'm doing here, just using a bit of weight to hold it down on the corners along the edges. So now I'm just going to go about applying that adhesive in here. I'm going to do it all along the edge, get it so it's touching the car and also the seal. I may apply some under the lip like I was talking about earlier. But regardless, I'm just going to go ahead and knock that out. I'm going to wait a day or so for it to completely cure. We'll take a final look at how it looks when I'm done with everything all together. I've used this one before during some fixes I needed around the house. This one is urethane based. I like the way this one dries, and it's just kind of tacky to begin with. So we're going to try this one now. I got the new seal in. Don't have any adhesive on there yet. We're going to start putting that on and letting this one cure and see if this one does the job. All right, I got it applied and it is tacky, it's sticky. Then this, I think this will be more than enough. Let me show you how this one looks. And then I'm gonna let it dry so we can kind of look at it on here too. So, oh shit, my gun's breaking. Let me see if I can get it, there we go. I'm gonna leave a little seam here. And then we're gonna make one here. Sorry for the shoddy camera work. I'm trying to do this with one hand. And so when looking at it, this thing is super sticky, but it dries very solid. So that's why I ended up going back to this one. I'm not gonna touch this one for like 3 days. Let it completely dry. We'll also come out here and I'll record some video of these little pieces I've left on this box and see how hard they are. I'll even cut it with my knife. You can check it out. All right, guys, so after putting the new adhesive on, it has been sitting out here for the last 3 days now. And that test piece that I was showing in the wildly erratic clip, where I can keep my hand still, this thing is solid. It is really hard. Let me get, I'm gonna cut it. I want to see just how solid this piece is. I'm not left-handed, so this is a little bit difficult. So let's see if it's cured on the inside. Let me actually cut a piece away and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so looking at it, I cut this piece off. It looks like the inside is still curing because I put so much, like if I squeeze it. But I think honestly the casing is fine, like where it's holding it in place now on the car. And then you can remove all these weights off of there. And yeah, it feels real stiff here. I don't think it's gonna flex anymore. I think the inside's just gonna take a little bit longer to cure. But I think it'll be perfectly fine now. So let me get all these removed. Let's take a look at it after all the weights are off and see how it looks on its own. All right, guys, in here, I was just trying to clean it up a little bit, fingerprints. I've scratched it a little bit. I think it's nice is I'm using this Meguiar's cleaner wax. I actually use that thing on a lot of different surfaces for the car. And it cleaned it up very well, and I'm still able to apply a good amount of pressure still, which is really nice. That thing is solid in there. Obviously it's gonna move a little bit, but I don't believe it's going anywhere now. I just want to demonstrate how much pressure I can apply on there to help clean it. I'm doing this so I could take some nice pictures of it for YMS Shield before I finish off the video. Just to show you what I'm working on, it's hard to see with the reflection because it's so smooth and shiny now. Let me see if I can. Right there, see like these little stains that are on it. It's hard to get my camera to focus on it, it's so reflective. You can see right there, so I'm gonna put a little more cleaner wax on those, and this is the last side. Other than that, this thing is looking sharp all the way throughout. Oops. I don't know if you can see it, but cleaner wax removed it, and there is minimal scratches here and there. So if you're putting this on a really clean overall vehicle, it might be a little bit more difficult. You might want to be really careful. I think when I was flipping it over and getting the seal to fit, of course laying it on even that blanket on my table, it still would get a little scratched, but I mean, I think it looks awesome. This thing looks like an OEM EF hatchback SI sunroof now, being black and then having that that little seal actually really sets it off.
All right, guys, and there's a final look at the sunroof plug. I am really happy with how it came out. For this being my first time and attempting it, I think it came out fantastic. The thing I like is that it still looks OEM. If you look at like an EF SI hatchback, it looks similar to that. If you're just kind of glancing at it, even in the way it looks black and reflective, it's super reflective as you saw earlier in the video. The seal just kind of set it off. It almost matches like the way the windshield seal looks. And I couldn't be more pleased. I like that I didn't have to rivet it to the roof. If I wouldn't have wasted time with those little brackets, this thing could have been knocked out so quickly, and the time you would have waited just waiting for the adhesive to dry would have been the most time we had to do anything. Cutting it probably took me 15-20 minutes with my jigsaw, and then just trying to get it to fit perfectly along with the seal. The seal is easy to install. It took like 2 or 3 minutes to put that on. It's just kind of squeezing it onto the panel itself. But other than that, this thing came out awesome. I love it. Thanks YNS Shields for making the product. I think it's a good alternative to do. I had some people asking me about putting this on a car that's obviously a lot cleaner than something like this, and I definitely say go for it. The thing with them, just be a little more careful about trying to scratch it. Mine has little like surface scratches here and there, but the overall look of the car, like, it's hard to notice. This car is not super clean to begin with, so it's my track car. I think it's perfectly fine for it, and it'll do its job, which is the whole reason I bought it. Thanks for checking it out, guys. Hope you like the content on this plug. Thanks YNS Shields for making a cool product, and we will see you guys soon. Take care.